Before starting this video, I do want to give a thank you to my patrons that support the channel. And if you would like to support the channel, there are some great benefits for you in the link down below. So with that, let's get into today's video. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on PubStomp MTG. So with this upgrade, we're going to be focusing on Food and Fellowship for the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth Commander deck. I will say out of all the precons that came out for the new Lord of the Rings set, this has to be my favorite one because of all the things that are going on with it. So first, let's dive into the face commander, or should I say face commanders, because there is a partner pair with Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit, and Sam, Loyal Attendant. I will say it is pretty neat to see a partner pair for a commander precon deck, but to be fair, I only have one nitpick about this deck is the fact that Frodo and Sam look like they're teenagers, and even in the movies they did look younger as well. However, in the books, Frodo was actually 50 years old when they started the journey, and Sam was actually around 38 years old. Who knows, it might be just the way the hobbits age, or they might just have good genetics. Enough side ranting, what does Frodo and Sam have to offer for you as a commander? So Frodo reads, partner with Sam, it does have vigilance. Whenever Frodo Adventurous Hobbit attacks, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, the ring tempts you. Then if Frodo is your ring bearer and the ring has tempted you 2 or more times this game, you draw a card. And with Sam, he does have partner with Frodo. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you create a food token, and activated abilities of food you control cost 1 less to activate. So very flavorful overall in my opinion. Frodo is out there being tempted by the ring constantly, and he's drawing us cards, while Sam is making us a nice coney stew. I did also want to mention the other partner pairing of Merry and Pippin. In my opinion, you can kind of interchange between these and Frodo and Sam if you'd like, because they have a great pair of abilities. Merry has the ability whenever 1 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, you create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink, and Pippin does have pay 1, tap him, create a food token. And another ability to tap him, sacrifice 4 foods, other creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain haste until end of turn. You could only activate it as a sorcery. So both of these work very well with each other. One's providing a big army, another is providing an overrun ability for your army so that you could win the game. So they are great in the 99. I did want to focus on Frodo and Sam as the commanders, mainly because I like commanders that have a draw ability in the command zone, and on top of that, Sam is a great food token enabler. So with that being said, I did want to discuss some of the cards in the box in the precon itself, because there's actually quite a good amount of cards to select from. So the first card I would like to bring to your attention is Bilbo Birthday Celebrant. I would say out of all the books, Bilbo is actually one of my favorite characters, mainly because of The Hobbit. When I was a younger kid, The Hobbit was an easier read compared to Lord of the Rings, so I just imagined myself being Bilbo as an adventurer, going around and just going on crazy adventures in the woods. A little while ago, I did make a deck tech around Bilbo Birthday Celebrant, so if you do want to go check that out, I'll post the link above here. I would say he is a great card in the 99. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead, and has a great ability by paying Abzan colors to colorless and tapping him. By tapping him, you'll exile Bilbo Birthday Celebrant, search your library for any number of creature cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Activate only if you have 111 or more life. Or should I say 111 more life. So in a weird way, his effect is like the Protean Hulk, so that's pretty neat. I did also want to discuss Bilbo's best friend with Gollum Obsessed Stalker. Not really his best friend, Gollum obviously hates him, but he does have a great ability of Skulk. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Luckily, he does have a toughness and power of 1/1. But Gollum does have a great ability at the beginning of your end step. Each opponent dealt combat damage this game by a creature named Gollum Obsessed Stalker loses life equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. So if we swing away with Gollum, connecting to all 3 opponents, they're going to be losing a lot of life because we're going to be gaining so much life off of our food tokens. In a similar sense, we do have a great new reprint with Sanguine Bond. Following up with that, we do also have Toxic Deluge, which is another great and fantastic reprint. They've been reprinting so much good stuff, especially in this Lord of the Rings precon set. To be honest, I never thought I would see the day where I would see Toxic Deluge out of all cards to be put into a precon commander set. Plus with Sanguine Bond, it works pretty well, and both of those are pretty flavorful, especially with the text. I love these a lot in the different art. Speaking of other reprints I never thought I would see in a commander set, we do have Birds of Paradise, which again I never thought I would see in a commander precon like Toxic Deluge, especially with this stunning art. I did also want to talk about Gilded Goose, mainly because of the cute art with the goose taking away the carrot. But it's super efficient because we're making a lot of food tokens. This is a food token generator and also a mana generator as well. Speaking of mana mana generation, I did want to talk about Prize Pig, mainly because whenever you gain life, you put that much ribbon counters on Prize Pig, then if there are 3 or more ribbon counters on Prize Pig, remove those counters and untap it. So whenever you do gain life, say for example when you gain life off a food token, you gain 3 life, which is the exact amount for the Prize Pig to have those counters put on it. And you could also tap the pig for 1 mana of any color, which is excellent by the way. Another card I did want to mention quickly is Farmer Cotton. So when Farmer Cotton enters the battlefield, you create X 1/1 white halfling creature tokens and X food tokens, and the X depends on the amount of mana you pay to cast him. So this works perfectly with Merry and Pippin, mainly because we want a lot of foods on the battlefield and a lot of creatures so that we have that overrun ability. Another card I did want to discuss is the Gaffer, Sam's old man himself. He just has a great ability at the beginning of each end step. If you gain 3 or more life this turn, you draw a card. That's simple. So this is going to provide us a lot of card draw. Mainly if we do have Sam on the battlefield, our food tokens will cost 1 less to activate to sacrifice them to gain 3 life. So with that being said, the Gaffer is absolutely going to provide so much value for us drawing cards left and right. And lastly, I did want to discuss one of my favorite cards out of the Precon with Feasting Hobbit, or should I say Proud Foot.
Proud feet.
Oh right, anyways, so this does have a great ability, Devour Food 3. And he does have another ability, creatures with power less than the Feasting Hobbit's power can't block it. So wait, let's just look at this for a second. So for just 1 and a green, you're getting all this abilities, plus say for example, you have like 4 foods on the battlefield. You sacrifice them to the Feasting Hobbit and he suddenly becomes a 14/14 on the battlefield, that can't be blocked. And you say Tarka has no limits on her hunger, wait until you see the Feasting Hobbit. So now that we've seen some of the cards that are in the Precon deck, let's also discuss some of the great cards that you may want to consider adding in. I'm going to try to add in as much Lord of the Rings cards as I can, but there's going to be some other cards that I want to bring to your attention that are just great overall. So the number 1 auto-include card ever is Bill the Pony. You have to add him in here no matter what, just trust me. So Bill has a great ability of entering the battlefield. You create 2 food tokens. You could also give Bill a carrot. Until end of turn, target creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So I added this in here, not that you can add Bill the Pony, you must add Bill the Pony. I did also want to mention a great board wipe with the Battle of Bywater. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, then create a food token for each creature you control. So if some of you only seen the movies and haven't read the books, basically Saruman actually took over Hobbiton after the events of the War of the Ring. Saruman was also under the name of Sharky as well. So the Hobbits essentially went to war against Sharky and basically won, which is implied by destroying all creatures with power 3 or greater. Then obviously you get a great feast at the end of the war. So it is kind of cool to see that they fleshed that out instead of just taking it away like the movies did. I did also want to discuss Call of the Ring, mainly because Frodo wants to be tempted so that we could draw cards. At the beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. That's simple. And whenever you choose a creature as your ring bearer, you may pay 2 life. If you do, you draw a card. So we'll get card draw with Frodo, and on top of that, we'll get card draw off of the Call of the Ring. So this is providing great value as an enchantment by itself. A great card I did want to mention is Delighted Halfling, mainly because if you are playing against blue decks that are countering your spells left and right, you could take advantage of Delighted Halfling so that your legendary spells can't be countered like your commanders. So I do also want to give a forewarning, Delighted Halfling is probably going to be a staple across multiple formats, so this might not be in the price range at the end of this video, or even months after recording. With that said, I did want to discuss Smeagol Helpful Guide as well. So with another ring tempting mechanic, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, target opponent reveals the top of their library until they reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped under your control and the rest into their graveyard. So the ring's going to tempt us left and right, mainly with Frodo and also Call to the Ring, so we're going to be gaining so much incidental ramp out of Smeagol. So with that said, I did also want to talk about Mithril Coat and Sting the Glinting Dagger, mainly because those are Bilbo's gifts to Frodo so that when he goes on his journey, that he can be protected by the Mithril Coat. So I do think Mithril Coat is absolutely fantastic. It has flash and indestructible, and when it enters the battlefield, attach it to a legendary creature you control. Equipped creature has indestructible because you never know when a giant troll is going to try to stab you. I do also like the ability Sting has to offer. Equipped creature has +1/+1 and has haste. At the beginning of each combat, untapped equipped creature. And of course, if you are against a goblin heavy meta, this is a great ability. Equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or being blocked by a goblin or a orc. Ironically, I do think the best commander for Sting is actually Krenko Mob Boss, mainly because you want to keep on tapping him and untapping him so that you make more goblins. And of course, Sting has semi-protection even 2 goblins. So I did think that was kind of funny. However, let's move on to another subject. We're going to be talking about mainly food because that's what's going to bring the whole family together for a big feast. So the first card I do want to mention in this subject is Samwise Gamgee. So as a farmer, he's definitely going to bring the best food to the table. So whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a food token. And if Sam happens to have leftovers, he can sacrifice 3 food tokens and return a target historic card from your graveyard to your hand so that you could invite people to the party so he doesn't have to eat all the food. Speaking of food, we do also have Peregrine Took and Meriadoc Brandybuck. They're constantly asking about second breakfast, so they're going to deliver it themselves. Especially with Peregrine, if 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional food token are created instead. And if you do want to pass on a third breakfast, you sacrifice 3 food tokens, you draw a card. And with Meriadoc, whenever 1 or more halflings you control attack a player, create a food token. So again, with these cards and many of the cards in the deck, these are so flavorful with food because Hobbits are all about it. So another chef I do want to bring your attention to is not necessarily from the Lord of the Rings universe, with Guillaume Master Chef. I mainly like this because the more guests you have entering the battlefield, the more number of food tokens you're creating equal to the number of creatures that enter the battlefield. Plus you could pay 1 and sacrifice a food, target creature gains indestructible until end of turn, then you tap it. So this could work offensively in a way if you don't want a creature you control to die. Plus this could also work defensively, mainly because if somebody has a big scary creature on the board like Sauron, the Lord of the Rings, you could tap it before combat so that it doesn't swing. So Guillaume is definitely a great target to add into the deck. So let's go back to the Lord of the Rings universe and talk about the Shire itself. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. It taps for a green mana. You could also pay 1 and a green and tap it. You could tap an untapped creature you control, create a food token. So again, the Shire is full of hobbits, so of course we must add it into the deck, plus it makes food tokens. Another card I did want to discuss is Trail of Crumbs, mainly because when it enters the battlefield you create a food token, and on top of that, whenever you sacrifice a food you may pay 1. If you do look at the top 2 cards of your library, you may reveal a permanent card from among them and put them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. In this deck, you're going to be sacrificing food left and right, might as well get some card advantage off of that as well. Lastly, it wouldn't be a party without Gandalf the Grey, or should I say Gandalf the White. A wizard arrives precisely when he means to, like Gandalf when he has flash, and you can cast legendary spells and artifact spells as though they had flash as well. But that's not all, because Gandalf has some more abilities. If a legendary permanent or an artifact entering or leaving the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So with this deck, there's going to be a lot of artifacts entering and leaving the battlefield with food tokens, so we're going to be doubling the triggers of some of our cards, so that's going to be great incidental value, no question about it. Plus, casting our commanders at instant speed is great advantage too. With that being said, thank you guys so much for coming by and watching this video on the new Precon product, Food and Fellowship. This is an exciting Precon, my favorite out of the whole Precon set, with the new Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. With this Precon and many of the other Precons are just oozing with flavor and subtext that are absolutely excellent. I also love the idea of Frodo and Sam being a partner pair in this Precon set. However, let me know down below, what are your thoughts and opinions about this new Precon product? Do you like it? Do you feel like it needs to be tuned a little bit more? Are there any cards that I did miss? Let me know down below in the comments. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And with that out of the way, thank you for stopping by.